here today not just for Mass, but also to join in the celebration of 50 years of priesthood. We represent every place that I've been in the diocese for these 50 years, and I appreciate your efforts, your love, and wanting to come.
And finally, today, before we conclude, we have a special guest here. Mr. Greg Peterson is here from the Center for Memorial of Judge Jackson, who was one of the great judges in American history, and he was the judge at the Nuremberg Trials, and Father Fuchs was his bodyguard. And so Mr. Peterson has a special presentation for Father Fuchs this morning.
Thank you, Father Williams, for permitting me the opportunity to be here from Jamestown, New York. Bring greetings from everybody down there at the Robert Jackson Center and several friends who Father Fuchs has had a chance to know in the last few years. Father Fuchs started his homily in August of 1946. However, I want to flash back 1 year more, to August of 1945, when Private Moritz Fuchs was appointed as the bodyguard for Robert H. Jackson. Robert H. Jackson was the Chief American Prosecutor at the Nuremberg War Trial. He's the guy who not only formulated the trial, but actually prosecuted the trial against the Nazis as we knew them, but headlines like Goering, Hess, and Ribbentrop, so on. Moritz Fuchs was named the bodyguard. There was only one. He was it, 24/7. However, I want to share with you a couple of reasons why I'm here today. He's an extraordinary individual who, frankly, in 2002, wasn't sure he was around. One of the reasons to have this Robert H. Jackson Center, which we started in 2001, was to advance the legacy of Justice Jackson and to try to put a face on him, to try to put some sense as to who he was. I read a book by Joseph Persico, and it made reference to Moritz Fuchs, bodyguard. I thought, man, I would love to be able to find out if he's around, because I'd love to talk to him. So the question is he alive? And so what you do, you go on to the internet, and go to People Find, and you just sort of type in Moritz Fuchs and hope for the best. Next thing you know, there it is. Pops up, Moritz Fuchs, Fulton, New York. Could it be? So I get on the phone, not wasting any time, and I called, and there was an answer. Father Moritz Fuchs, God bless you. And I said, I'm Greg Peterson from Jamestown, New York. And very monotone. Yes, may I give you some assistance? I said, well, I am from Jamestown, and I wonder if I could talk to you for a second. Yes, again, monotone. Yes. I only have a few minutes. This will just take a few minutes. He goes, yes, I can explain myself because I have to go to the Altar Rosary Society meeting in 5 minutes. So I knew my time was up. So I said, do you have one question? First, one quick question, because I am the president of the Robert H. Jackson Center, and I want to make sure that this is the same Moritz Fuchs who was the bodyguard for Robert Jackson. He said, yes! He got all excited. So that went by, and I said, just one quick question, because I know you must go to the Altar Rosary Society. just tease me a little bit, because I want to know, how did you connect? Well, without stopping, he went on for the next 25 minutes. For those who were at the Altar Rosary Society, I wonder where that would be. So I finally stopped him. I said, don't you have to be someplace? And he said, yes, but they can wait. So clearly there was a connection, an exciting connection, so much so that now that I knew he was alive, I wanted to make sure I captured his story. So within a couple of weeks, I was in my car out to Fulton, New York. Subsequently, he came and joined us at the Robert Jackson Center, spoke, I think probably for one of the first times, on an experience which he had not, probably hadn't heard any homilies about his days at the Nuremberg Trial, but literally, he was there. He was there in the courtroom, so that when you see those black and white films of Robert Jackson at the podium, you'll actually see Father Fuchs in the background there. You'll see him. He was an eyeball to the 21 foremost Nazi officials. So extraordinary individual. And he has come, we've become friends. He's come to Jamestown on several occasions and participated in events, including the 50th anniversary of the commemoration of the death of Robert Jackson. He was the chaplain who gave the homily there. He's given speeches there, but foremost, and I want to leave one last impression. He was the chaplain for the dedication of the Robert Jackson Center, and our speaker that day was Chief Justice William Rehnquist. Big deal. Rehnquist just doesn't show up for these gigs. So Father Fuchs did the invocation and the benediction, but I must share with you the vision of the benediction. He showed me his prayer in advance that he was going to give, and I got to tell you, I was a little nervous. I never said anything, but you can think of the podium consisted of Father Fuchs here, 2,000, 3,000 people in front of the Robert Jackson Center. I'm sitting over to the left, Chief Justice of the United States. That's his title, William Rehnquist here. He concludes the benediction and then says, if we would all rise and say the Lord's Prayer. Now, if you can imagine, in front of 2,000 people, he grabbed hands as you just did here. There's Greg Peterson to the right of Father Fuchs, and to the left is the Chief Justice of the United States holding Father Fuchs' hand. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful, and he did not know this was going to happen. And I can tell you it was the only thing he did not know that was going to happen the entire time there. I can tell you, as I saw that happen, and it happened briefly, that Father Fuchs told me wonderful things about him. One, he was a man of character, a man of principle that would actually grab the Chief Justice's hand and raise it high, and a man who had a great deal of guts. On behalf of the Robert Jackson Center, and just in commemoration of this event, I know I probably overstepped my time, we had a few years ago commissioned a portrait of Justice Robert Jackson by a portrait artist, and we've only given out 10 of these. And to Chief Justice Rehnquist was the first one. Today, Father Fuchs, if I could, I'd be more than happy on behalf of the Jackson Center to give you this signed edition lithograph.